Welcome to Football with Cheese. So in this video, we're going to talk about the Super Bowl champion, Seattle Seahawks, basically what they did right and how teams will likely emulate it. I did a video last year called the Eagles Effect, where I talked about what the Eagles did right and how so many teams, especially during the draft, tried to copy it. And this video obviously is called the Seahawks Effect. But first, if you're new to the channel, make sure you subscribe, hit that bell for notification so you never miss one of my videos. All right, so first just quickly talk about the Eagles. They won the Super Bowl, not this year, but last year. They beat the Chiefs, and they did it in the trenches, offense and defensive line. You can search my videos for Eagles Effect if you want to check it out. But they had maybe the most physical offensive line in the NFL. 2 first-round picks, 2 second-round picks on that line. And the defensive line was deep. And we're going to talk about that with the Seahawks, where they had 6 guys that could start for anyone. And if you did not know this, if you're a defensive lineman, defensive tackle, or edge rusher, you can't play every snap. It's tiring to play defense, so you need depth at that position. And the Eagles had depth. And they had players like a Josh Sweat, like a Milton Williams, each get 2 sacks in the Super Bowl. And we're going to talk about the Seahawks in a second, and you'll see something very similar happen. So the Eagles were just way more physical in that game against the Chiefs, and they won easily. And the Seahawks won easily as well. So what's similar? Well, let's talk about the defensive line. Once again, it is 6 deep. There's 6 guys, maybe 7 or 8, that could start for anyone. John Schneider, the general manager, did an amazing job. If you look at the last 4 drafts, 2021 through 2025, at building the defensive line. Don't look at 2020 and 2021 drafts. That was a dark time in Seahawks history. It's funny because he was so good at drafting like 2010 to 2013, something like that, and then was so bad for 6, 7, 8 years, and then was amazing again. The Seahawks were patient, didn't give up on him. But if you look at the last 4 drafts, the Eagles and the Seahawks probably did as good a job as anyone, and those are the last 2 teams to win the Super Bowl. You have players on the defensive line. Byron Murphy, 2 sacks in the Super Bowl. First-round pick, defensive tackle. Leonard Williams, first-round pick of the Jets, but now he's on the Seahawks. So 2 first-round picks at defensive tackle. The Eagles, same thing. Jordan Davis, Jalen Carter, both first-round picks at defensive tackle. Yes, there are a lot of similarities between the last 2 Super Bowl champions. Edge rusher, DeMarcus Lawrence, Derek Hall, Uchenna Nwasu, Bowie Mafe, all second-round picks. That's how you build your team. In the trenches with first and second round picks. And Derek Hall, 2 sacks in the Super Bowl. He was a second round pick in the 2023 draft. Another thing John Schneider did really well, he's not afraid to use first round picks on non-premium positions. Eagles did that as well. Let's talk about them real quick before we talk about the 2023 draft where the Seahawks nailed it. In the 2024 draft, the biggest weakness for the Eagles was corner. They built the trenches, but you're not always going to get pressure. Even in the Super Bowl, you saw the Seahawks get pressure majority of the time. There's still going to be plays where the offensive line doesn't give up a pressure. So if you have a great secondary, you can still have an elite defense. And the Eagles drafted Quinyon Mitchell and Cooper DeJean. Both players fell way further than they should have. Quinyon Mitchell was like a guaranteed top 12, 13 pick, falls in the 20s. Cooper DeJean was a first-round lock, but he was injured, so he couldn't work out. So teams passed on him. It's insane. The Packers, my favorite team, took Jordan Morgan, offensive tackle, Arizona, and not Cooper DeJean. And corner is their biggest need. Still is. Packer fans were livid at the time. He falls in the second round, and the Eagles trade up to get him. So all of a sudden, that defense is deep on the defensive line and very good in the secondary. And that's what the Seahawks did as well. In the 2023 draft, they used the 5th overall pick on Devon Witherspoon. Corner is become a non-premium position. And the Seahawks weren't afraid to use a top 5 pick on a corner because he's elite. And then the 20th overall pick that year, Jackson Smith-Njigba, wide receiver, Ohio State. Wide receiver, it's not a premium position. I wouldn't say it's like tight end or running back or guard on offense. It's higher premium than that, but it's still not considered a premium position. And JSN was not supposed to get past Green Bay at 13. He falls all the way to 20. And the Seahawks are like, okay, we'll take him. JSN, one of the best receivers in the NFL. Devon Witherspoon, one of the best corners in the NFL. Got Derek Hall in the second round, 2 sacks in the Super Bowl. And this past draft, John Schneider nailed it again. Took a guard, 18th overall. Not a premium position, but it was a huge need. Guard was their biggest weakness. And then, for some reason, just like Cooper DeJean, Nick Emenwari, who was projected to be a top 20 pick, falls into the early second round. What does Seattle do? They trade up to get him. And their secondary was incredible. We just talked about how the Seahawks have 6 or 7 guys on the defensive line that could start for anyone. Well, they have 6 guys in the secondary as well. At safety, you have Julian Love, one of the best safeties in the NFL. You drafted Nick Emenwari. You have Kobe Bryant. And at corner, you have Devon Witherspoon. Like I said, one of the best at his position. You have Josh Jobe. You have Reek Woolen. That's 6 guys that could start for anyone. So what did the last 2 Super Bowl champions both do? They were deep on the defensive line. Used first-round picks on defensive tackles, first and second-round picks on edge rushers. They also addressed their biggest weakness the year before they won. It was cornerback for the Eagles. It was guard for the Seahawks. And they're both very deep in the secondary. Now, those defensive lines from the Eagles and Seahawks last 2 years got so many sacks, so much pressure. They exposed the weaknesses of the Chiefs and the Patriots, where they have a couple good offensive linemen and a couple really bad ones. And it got exposed, and neither Super Bowl was close. So every team pay attention to this. You cannot have weaknesses on your offensive line, although the Seahawks did have one, right guard Anthony Bradford. They will need to address it. But the other 4, very good. The Eagles had no weaknesses last year on their offensive line. Plus, both teams very good on special teams, especially Seattle. There's not a weak spot on the Seattle special teams unit. Michael Dixon, the punter, had an amazing game. Jason Myers, the kicker, made all his kicks. Very good return man, Rashid Shaheed. They cover kicks well. Take notice. My Green Bay Packers, take notice on special teams. That's how you win. It's pretty obvious. You got to be deep on the defensive line. You have to have a good offensive line. You have to be deep in the secondary, and you play good special teams. And Jalen Hurts and Sam Darnold, they're not top 5 quarterbacks. You can even argue they're not even top 10 quarterbacks. Seahawks and Eagles fans would say different, but you can make an argument. But the point I'm trying to make is you have to have a good quarterback. You don't have to have an elite quarterback. You have to have at least a good quarterback if you are amazing on the defensive line, amazing on the offensive line, you have a very good secondary, and you play good special teams. That's what both of these teams did, and they dominated their opponent in the Super Bowl. So let me know in the comments, what do you think? Do you think a lot of teams will try to emulate what the Seahawks did? I absolutely do. If you enjoyed this, please give me a thumbs up. Really helps out the channel. Me and Mike, we do the Lights Out podcast every Tuesday night, 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific. We talk baseball, college football, and of course, NFL. Link in the description. Share this with anyone who loves football. I cover all 32 teams on this channel and a huge emphasis on the NFL draft. So make sure you subscribe to get all of those. Please check out these videos about the most underrated player at every position, and I'll see you in the next one.